Hello guys, it's Timmy2009 here with another wooden railway video. And this is a 3D printed wooden railway video. And before I start, I thought I'd say that Thomas and Lady's Equestrian Adventures Episode 10 Part 1 is getting so close to getting done. So far the video is 8 minutes and 50 seconds long. My goal is to try to get it to 10 minutes long, so that way I can upload it. So stay tuned for that. It'll still come soon. But anyways, who do I have that I've 3D printed today? Well, I bet this is going to be a very good one. So let's kick things off with the character that everyone had suggested the most. James the Red Engine. Now, I'd like to thank all of you who suggested James. If you guys have suggested James, tell me in the comments below. But let's talk about James. So James is one of my absolute favorite characters of all time. James seems to be pretty iconic, and I'm glad that he is a popular character. I think he's a fan favorite. And I love James because of his style. I love James, his paint job. He's a very shiny scarlet red coat. And James' personality is that James boasts about his red coat. And he likes being the center of attention, I think. And James is a mixed traffic engine, which means he can pull both coaches and cars. But James does not like freight cars, and he loves coaches. Gordon is the same as James, where he doesn't like pulling cars and he likes pulling coaches. And he pointed out that tender engines don't shunt. But let's talk about James. So here's James's tender. And I love how James came out here. I love how all my models are turning out here because these are looking so great, and this looks so identical to the 1994 Wooden Railway James. The E2 family does have a Wooden Railway James, but it's the 2013 James. But I am happy that he does have a Wooden Railway James because James is one of my favorite characters. And I'm happy that James is still a character to this day. In the Sharon Miller era, James was out of character, like the other 8 engines and as well as the narrow gauge engines. Now, excuse me. I also could not figure out how James was out of character in the Sharon Miller era. I mean, there are some episodes that I watch with James from the Sharon Miller era. Keeping Up with James, James gets a new coat. And there are some episodes with James as an appearance, but even though he's not the main focus of that episode. But still, James is very amazing. I like James for his classic series personality as well as the Andrew Brenner era. And James is also going to be in the new 2D animated reboot. And when I saw that James was in this 2D animation, and that Mattel made him 2D, I honestly thought that they wouldn't make James as a 2D character, but they did, surprisingly. But even James now has to go through what Thomas, Percy, and Diesel are going through in this reboot. The character designs don't look that great, and they all have colored eyes, but I still don't know if I should trust this reboot. I mean, I understand that you all hate this reboot. I highly respect your opinions. I was going to watch at least one episode just to see if it's poorly written. If there are 1 or 2 episodes of this reboot that are poorly written, then I'm just going to stop watching new Thomas content, and I'm just going to stick to when Thomas the Tank Engine actually gained popularity, and when we all loved it. And Thomas Wooden Railway, for over 20 years, Thomas Wooden Railway had continued to put smiles on children throughout the world. And that is so amazing. I feel kind of sad that Thomas Wooden Railway got discontinued in 2017, but at the same time, I am glad because I would hate that if Thomas Wooden Railway made a Wooden Railway Nia and Rebecca, but that's what Thomas Wood did. And I do use Thomas Wood in my stories, and I will still use that in Thomas and Lady's Equestrian Adventures. I just thought I'd do these because they look great, and they look so identical. I'm thinking of doing Thomas and the Magic Railroad rewritten with these characters, so probably stay tuned for that if you're excited. And what do you guys think of James here? Do you love James as a character? If James is one of your favorite characters, then tell me in the comments below. James was a favorite of mine, and he will still be my favorite character to this day. I mean, Thomas is my number one favorite, but James is one of my favorite characters. So, I think that's all I have to say about James, but he looks very great here, and he looks so beautiful. Like, this looks so much like the Wooden Railway James, and I'm so happy. I couldn't be happier. Alright, number 2 of this video. Let's have a look at one of the Scottish twins, who was suggested by Trainboy17. Donald. Trainboy17, if you're watching this, thank you so much for suggesting Donald. I haven't made Douglas yet, but I am in the process of Douglas. Like, if you look right there, you can see Douglas. And you can see me making a 3D printed Wooden Railway Rosie as well. Let's get back to Donald. So, Donald is another one of my favorite characters, along with Douglas. Donald and Douglas were some of my absolute favorite characters, because I love their Scottish accents. And what I love the most is that Andrew Brenner brought back Donald and Douglas after the Sharon Miller era got discontinued. So they first appeared in Star Wars Legend of the Lost Treasure, and they did have a few episodes dedicated to them. I still did not like Season 21, because that's where Thomas started breaking the fourth wall. And Donald and Douglas appeared in a Season 21 episode called Emily in the Middle. But there are some episodes I like about Donald and Douglas, like Love Me Tender, Twin Trouble, even though it's one of my least favorites. There are some other episodes where Donald and Douglas appear, like The Spy for Breakvant. And strangely enough, there was supposed to be another episode called The Missing Coach, but that episode ended up getting deleted, but we just got photos of Donald and Douglas in that episode. I do feel really sad that The Missing Coach was deleted, because I would have loved to see that episode. But I think Donald here looks very interesting. I love his shape the most, because this looks so identical and so realistically accurate to the Wooden Railway Donald and Douglas. Even the tender with the flat coal from like 1996, I think, or maybe a little older than that. I do love the number 9 here. If I made Douglas, he would have his nameplate in the number 10. That's how you tell Donald and Douglas apart. And when Donald and Douglas were first introduced, they didn't actually have their nameplates until the Deputation. And I love the fact that Percy pleaded with Sir Topham Hatt not to send Donald and Douglas away. And they are part of the railway to this day. I don't know if Mattel is going to put Donald and Douglas in the 2D animated reboot. Because if they don't, then that's one reason I'm going to never watch new content. But what do you guys think of Donald here? Do you like him? And I hope you look forward to me making Douglas soon, because he is in the process. I just gotta paint his stripes, his number 10, and print his face and his nameplate. Alright, last but not least, we have 2 characters that I mentioned in my last video. The Troublesome Trucks. Now, this is the first time where I've ever made 3D printed Wooden Railway rolling stock. The Troublesome Trucks here were suggested by Isaiah Rodriguez, so I thank him for that. And I actually decided to make 2 gray Troublesome Trucks because... Hold on. You can never have too many Troublesome Trucks in your Thomas collection. Like, it's always good to get a duplicate of a freight car, because if you do, then you can have a big, long freight train. Although James would not like that. But Thomas and Percy might, since Thomas shunts and they do pull the trucks. The Troublesome Trucks do cause mischief, though, because they live up to their name, and they basically cause all the engine's accidents. There's some episodes where the engines cause these accidents on their own, like Oliver just bumped into the cars when they were teasing him in Oliver's Find. James was pulling some tar wagons, and he ended up crashing into some himself. And let's see, there was this episode called Percy Takes the Plunge where the trucks push him into the river. A lot of mischief can be caused by these trucks. But let's talk about their design. So, they looked so identical to the trucks. This is actually a primer gray. It's kind of light for my taste, but One thing that I love the most is their faces. Like, I actually drew their faces on with a black marker, and they look so, so great. Like, at first I was going to print these trucks, but then I decided to actually draw their faces on, since it looks more interesting. And I love how I captured these designs so well. What do you guys think of the troublesome trucks here? Did you think I did a good job? I do love these trucks, and I have to thank Isaiah Rodriguez. I look forward to making more rolling stock. Like, I'm in the process of Annie and Clarabelle. They're done. I just need their chassis. But that's all I gotta say for this video. And who was your favorite train in this video? Was it James, Donald, or the troublesome trucks? And as always, if you want to suggest a character, don't forget to comment below and request a character you want me to 3D print as a wooden railway train. Anyways, thanks for watching. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. And stay tuned for TALEA Episode 10 Part 1. Bye!